welcome back to From the Source podcast, episode 16. And today we're going to be speaking, which, like the last episode, had been a bit of inspiration from seeing other people. But I was just on Strava and I was kind of looking at running streaks and daily streaks and weekly streaks that kind of Strava gives you of the information. So basically the episode is about kind of running streaks and, you know, if they're good, if they're bad, and kind of some of the risks that are involved in that and why they're kind of probably good for new runners as well. So pretty much everyone knows what a running streak is, why people kind of start the running streaks, the risk of like, you know, the daily running or the weekly running that goes with it, some advice for any beginners starting off again, which, you know, is actually the running theme of this podcast now. It seems to just, I'm wanting to help as many new runners as possible. And kind of, is doing the running streaks actually worth it? So, like I said, the running streaks basically come as daily or weekly, you know, monthly to a point. But like, you know, you never really hear anyone talk about like yearly running streaks. So those running streaks could be you run every day, you do an activity every day, you run at least 1 mile a day. There's loads of different things you at least do. A running streak of at least like 20 miles a month, you know, depending on whatever it is. But I think it's the idea of a running streak just allows people to set more achievable goals. So, you know, it's popular with a lot of people on Strava about how many months have you ran for continuously. I see people on like TikTok, I can't remember the guy's name, who's ran at least 100 miles a week for the last like 260 weeks or something mental. So that's one hell of a running streak. But yeah, so it's seen a lot on TikTok. It's seen a lot on Strava and Facebook and stuff like that. So it just gives people probably added motivation or helps their motivation to keep running. You know, it's that slightly accountable side of it where people don't want to lose the streak. I'll actually just check on my Strava what it says here, because it doesn't, because I don't pay for premium anymore because I didn't really get much of it. Yeah, it doesn't say actually. It used to say. It just says August. I've got your streak's 3 weeks. So yeah, that was actually a bit pointless. Probably should have checked beforehand. But yeah, so those are kind of the running streaks, and kind of why people start them is to mainly create that habit which I speak about. You know, it kind of builds that discipline, makes you turn exercise into a bit of a non-negotiable. So even if it's, you're like, oh, I don't want to run this week, it's like at least get one in, because that'll just keep the streak going, and that helps with a bit of motivation. And when you're looking back on the streaks, you won't actually highlight that you only did one run that week instead of like your normal 4. It'll just see it as like a continuous week. So it's a bit of accountability again, because you're sharing it online. But I don't think Strava allows other people to see what your streaks are. But obviously you can screenshot it and tell everyone how many weeks or months you've been running for continuously. So it gives you a bit of that community and accountability. It kind of, well, it does give you some form of daily or weekly structure. So like I said, it, you know, it will just help you just get out of the house. Streaks, you can compare it to other runners. You can literally start one with your mates and say, you know, let's see how many weeks we can all run. And whoever drops out first, you know, has to do a forfeit or something. You know, just make a bit of a game out of it. And you know, along with doing all of this, which you treating it as a game, you actually are getting benefits. It's like, you know, your aerobic capacity is going up. You could have like an interval streak. You could do whatever. all of it is going towards the end goal of actually helping you run. So if you're doing like big marathon blocks, like 16 to 20 weeks, you're going to need little pull on little bits to actually get you through that. So that's like I spoke about previously, like changing your music up, changing your routes, running with your mates, add a little streak in just to get you past, that rough patch that you're in. And at the end of the day or end of the week, you can look at it as some form of achievement to be like, I've been sticking at this for however many weeks it is or however many months, whatever you set out. So, it's something good to look back on, rather than, just running for the sake of it. It's more accountability in the sense of accomplishment for you. So it obviously comes with some form of risk if you are doing daily running or if you are completely new to running and you decide to go all in on it, which some people will just get absolutely obsessed and say, oh, daily runs, I've got to go every week. So, you will get some overuse injuries, like potentially like stress fractures are a common one in people's shins and stuff. Shin splints are another one. You'll have like problems with like potentially like ankles, ankle ligaments, any hip issues. And this is mainly from just like constantly running on tarmac and just hammering your legs. And I think a good one to do is to actually change it up and, do some form of exercise like the cardio on a bike. So like if you go to a gym where they've got like a C2 bike, a stationary bike, you can do probably twice the amount of distance and take all that weight off your legs, which will help, to be fair. Doing daily runs, obviously you've got less time or minimal time for recovery. So you've really got to be hammering home on that nutrition and any of that stretching and recovery that you do at home. So if you're constantly out running every day, you're going to be eating, then you're going to be tired, then the next day is going to come, you're going to have to actually stay on top of it. So, previous episodes again, talk about like replenishing that glycogen. Your immune system might take a hit from the constant activity. So making sure you're on top of that, getting all the vitamins in, getting the right amount of sleep and stuff like that in. So that'll be vital. And this is kind of double-edged sword, really. You'll get, from the daily run, you'll get probably a bit of burnout, which in a way is why I would recommend doing the run streak, is to stop you from like feeling like you're going to burn out or lack that motivation. Use the running streak to help you. But obviously the other side of that is, you'll get like motivational or mental burnout from constantly thinking, I've got to go out today, I've got to find a time to go out today and stuff like that. So it's a double-edged sword with that. And because you're constantly running, you'll maybe neglect other type of training. So stretching, strength training, if you do like CrossFit or anything like that, you're missing out on like your 1RMs and stuff like that. So it's quite a hard balance to get it all in. But your strength training, you don't have to do a lot of it. It's just got to be like quality over quantity. You don't have to be like a bodybuilder and go in there for 2 hours and put loads amount of stress on your body. It's just something to just keep you strong and ticking over. And there is like a lot of people I know that will just set this challenge and get completely obsessed with it. Go all in, forget everything they do. So if kind of you're off that obsessive behavior, just be aware that it might change you slightly. You don't want to be running all the time that you even forget, friends, family, social life, jobs, or anything like that. So it's a bit of a weird one, but there is people that'll just get fully obsessed with it and just go all in, and they'll get super fit, and their end goal, if that is it, they will nail it. But what cost does that come at? Now, like I said, all these podcast episodes recently, probably the last looking at maybe like the last 5 or 6 have been all about, beginners and stuff like that, which is kind of how I wanted this podcast to go. I want to help as many new runners as possible and give some like real world advice to them. I'm not sitting here some like running coach to like the elite. It's more aimed at beginners and what I would have done and what I did and stuff like that. So, if you are going to start one of these running streaks as a newbie, choose the challenge entirely up to you to run 30 days solid as a streak or do it weekly, whatever you do. But just please start small. Don't say I'm going to do 10K every day for 30 days. You'll be able to do it. But how well you'll be able to do it is another story. So, start off running streak every day, but every day, you start on a 1 mile and, each day you put half a mile onto it. I've seen some people do it in kilometers, but like day 1's 1K, day 2's 2K, stuff like that, all up to like your last day being 30K. That's something I've seen people do on Strava and stuff, so that's good. Build up the intensity each week, like I talk about, like adding 10-20% onto your previous week's mileage, from your previous week's mileage to your current one, is a good idea. Don't just make the massive jump to go, well, I've ran 10K last week, I'll just do like 20K today. It doesn't really work like that. It's a slow burner, hence why all the running plans are so long. They're not just like a 2-week training block to get good at a 10K. It takes a lot of dedication to the grind, if you will. Building in those like active rest days. So that potentially, if and people might get confused with that, like building your active rest days in, but you're wanting to do a 30-day running streak. If you're doing it as a training block, you would do like some intense runs per week and some like slow, just even like between zone 1 and zone 2, like stuff like that. It doesn't have to be, every day. Every time those active rest days come around that you just walk, obviously you'll break your streak, but, do long, slow runs or like short, slow runs, just keep your body ticking over. It still goes on your run streak, but it doesn't absolutely hammer your body. And kind of the last point I had was about listening to your body. So if that part of your running streak was to like do 5K every day for a month, and then you get 4K in, and your body really starts to hurt, then kind of don't put yourself through it to finish the 5K running it. Just obviously walk the end. It's just like common sense, I think, because you'll be like, no, I'll push through the pain and I'll do the 5K, which is great. But then the next day, the pain's probably still going to be there, and if not worse. Whereas if you just like slacken off a bit, you'll obviously be able to carry on. So, listen to your body. You'll still have your run streak. You just maybe have done 4K that day instead of 5. But then the way I look at it is like the day after, do 6 to make up for that one lost K. It's, we're not sat here breaking records as a beginning runner. It's just about like using the streak to get yourself out of the house and use the motivation to, help you along in your fitness journey or whatever it is that you want to do. So they are worth it. I think running streaks, I think they're more worth it to beginner runners. Like I said, just it helps get you out of the house. I think if you add in doing these streaks with like going out with your mates and joining run clubs and stuff, that'll just like slowly drag you along, and setting like little challenges along the way. Because when you're in like a proper training plan, it is just rough. It's just tough. It's just not like the nicest thing to do. So, take care of yourself with it. All of these streaks will potentially help, build your confidence, help your running gait, get you used to like different running clothing or your gels or, whatever you want. But at the end of the day, like these running streaks should help your general health. and the streak shouldn't take away from any of that. It's an aid to help you, not to completely overtake your life. And remember to have some form of active rest day, or, a rest day. But that's all dependent on the running streak you decide to do. But if it was up to me, I'd probably start weekly as a running streak goes. So make sure you're running at least 2 or 3 times a week. And then once you get more confident, then maybe, say, I'll make sure I run on every weekday of every week, so you can see how it grows from there. Or then set your running streak to like monthly targets of distance and stuff like that. So there's loads of different things to do. But I'm hoping this episode was slightly helpful to any beginner runners. And quite a lot of the episodes that I've got planned have come from like, ideas I've thought of when I've been out running and seen people doing stuff, or like I said with this one, checked my Strava and I just thought, yeah, maybe I'll just talk about that. That is how these episodes are created at the minute. But if anyone's listened and got this far, I know it's only been a short episode this time, but if you've got any ideas for any other episodes you want me to talk about, or anything that is kind of bothering you that you think I may know about and you want me to discuss, then obviously send us a message or fire it into the comments. But yeah, apart from that, please join the run club if you want to. Still people joining, still a good little community going on in there. Yeah, join the run club. Just like, share, hopefully enjoy the videos, and I'll see you on the next one.